then it really does kill. So you could feel like you're choking, your chest is tight, and it could kill. It can cause really serious health issues. So hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Chilo here once again as always. So guys, I've been in Japan for 5 years now, and so at this point when I see some video titles about Japan, it gets me so well because I'm like, wait, hold up. So I saw this particular video from Mrs. Eat where she said harmless things that can kill you in Japan, and when I saw that kill, I'm like, kill. 5 years I've been here, I don't know what this woman is talking about, and I decided to watch that video. So guys, if you're an OG on this channel, you know that sometime last year I was doing this mini series where I did like mini reactions. Some of you really liked that series where I reacted to some videos that was about Japan from a Japanese perspective and said my own perspective as a black girl living in Japan. I don't know why I even stopped that series a bit. But yes, let me just give you guys a little backdrop story. Mrs. Eat, which is the person I'm reacting to her video, is a Japanese woman, but she has lived a lot of her life outside Japan. She has lived in New Zealand, she has lived in US, I think, yeah. And she's also married to a foreigner. So most times when I watch videos like this where she's calling out Japanese people, I give her the benefit of doubt because I feel like she has that right, because she sees things both from the lens of a Japanese and a foreigner first. Also, when I see her doing videos where she calls out foreigners, I tend to pause and listen because, like I said, she sees things too from the lens of a foreigner and a Japanese person. So she's like a middleman. Sometimes she speaks for us and sometimes she speaks against us. But this particular video, she is talking about things that can kill in Japan, and I'm going to be reacting to them if there are things I personally know. It's a pretty much straightforward video. I'll put the link to this particular video I'm watching in the description box so that you watch the full length of the video. In case you're interested, after this video you can go right ahead and watch that video. So let's get right into this video.
Not the only harmless things we use in Japan every day that can actually kill us, but why are they so dangerous? Today we're gonna find out, starting with this. What the heck is...
So guys, her intro is, I always live for her intro. She's literally saying this video is not exhaustive. Like I always say in my video, there are possibly more things, but these are the things that she's going to be addressing, and she's emphasizing that there are actually things in Japan that you need to know about, that you need to be careful of, that can actually kill people. And I like her video because she uses statistics.
Anyway, it's a chewy, sticky cake made from pounded rice, but unlike the rice that you'd find in sushi, it's made from a special kind of sticky rice called mochigome. This rice has a unique starch molecule that gives mochi its strictness, but that molecule is also the reason why mochi can be so deadly. Most mochi-related deaths happen between January 1st to 3rd. That's when we have our New Year's celebration in Japan. Many elderly choke and die on them. Because of that special starch that makes mochi so sticky and chewy, it can easily get stuck in old people's throats. And since many older Japanese people have missing teeth, they usually don't chew it well enough before swallowing.
So yeah guys, her first point is mochi. I hope I pronounced that right, guys. I'm still struggling with my Japanese pronunciation. Mochi is like a drawy, chewy kind of Japanese rice mold. So I don't know if I've said this on this channel before, but yes, Japanese rice it gets really soggy very easily if you put it in water and you use your, maybe I'm Nigerian, in case you don't know, I'm Nigerian. If you use the Niger mindset and put enough water or a lot of water in your Japanese rice, you're going to come back to pap. Literally, you come back to akamu. Like, their rice gets soft really easily. So sometimes you see people pounding the rice into different things or molding the rice into different things and so on and so forth. I won't even say that I have eaten a lot of mochi, but I have seen it around. And she's literally saying because most elderly people don't have, complete dentition and even saliva production, they tend to choke on it and die. It's almost the same thing as jelly, like this whole jelly sweet and all that. Now, one thing I'm going to really comment on is the dentition or the elderly people stuff in Japan. Guys, Japan has a large populace of elderly people. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of prediction that Japanese population might go into extinction because the younger generation are not. I did a video here. If you're an OG, you know I talked about marriage and friendships from the perspective of a Japanese person, dating and all those things with Shigma. And in that video I mentioned that, or he mentioned that, he's a Japanese guy, that a lot of Japanese people are scared to get married, are scared to commit, and even the ones that get married, they are not interested in like having children, right? So what is actually happening now is there's a shrinking population. Now, talking about the dentition thing, it's actually a biggie in Japan. I remember one of the first questions I asked somebody was, why are there so many dentists, shops or outlets or clinics like in Japan? Like, it's a lot. Literally in almost every street or every junction you're going to see at least one dentist. That's how much they have a dentition thing. And someone tried to explain it to me that it's genetic. They actually have some genetic dentition things. So yeah, she's right about dentition, she's right about age. But I can't really talk so strongly about mochi, but from her explanation I can see why mochi would kill. Now, she said it can get very stiff and very stretchy, so it's like, let's say, trying to chew rubber band or trying to chew tire. I don't know if that's a very appropriate example. It could choke you and die. So just in case you're planning to come into Japan, and I know a lot of foreigners, when you come, one of the first things you want to dive into is to explore, adventure, explore the food, explore this, explore that. Please, as much as possible, explore, yes, but keep this in mind and explore carefully or tread carefully, especially when you have all this stretchy kind of food and stuff. She gave very good statistics that a lot of people die, especially during the festive season, because it's a traditional Japanese food that a lot of people eat during the festive season. So I don't have so much talk in this point because I don't eat so much of mochi or moji. So let me just skip to the second point because I think I have a lot to say about the second point.
But that's not the only harmless thing that can kill you in Japan. Japanese people love taking baths until it tries to kill us. There's so many people dying from this. First, just look at how big this tub is. In Japan, it's common to find really big bathtubs like this, unlike in America. So when I saw American bathtub for the first time, I was very, very shocked because it was very shallow.
Guys, she's not even capping. This particular one has almost happened to me. So she's very correct. Now, I feel like a lot of Nigerian architectural design or interior with house is very similar to America, and I feel like the bathtub in the States is actually closer to what we have in Nigeria. But the bathtub here in Japan is so deep. Like, I feel like they made bathtubs in Japan for soaking. Like, they want you to soak in. It's not just take a shower, just stand and take shower. I'm talking of old buildings, traditional buildings especially. Now, in my last house, I think my last two houses, the one I just said you guys that I had an issue with my neighbor and my neighbor was terrible, blah blah blah. I had that particular house, guys. The bathtub was so deep. I mean, so deep. Like, I don't know if you guys do this thing, but I do it sometimes. You know how you're so conversant with your house that even when the light is off, you can trace some places, because I mean, it's your house, you've been living there. I did that thing a lot growing up in Nigeria. Like, maybe if there is no light or so and I don't want to bother to on the light, or there's just no light, I will just use my body, feel the location and carry myself to the kitchen. So when I was in that house, the bathtub was so deep, very, you know, that kind of deep bathtub that you have to raise your leg to the highest stretch limit to come down. So I don't know what happened, but I didn't on the lights. It was not yet so dark, but at the same time it was not so bright, you know, all this 6 p.m. thereabouts kind of vibe. And I wanted to come down, guys. I nearly slipped and fell. And then the bathtub it has this detachable vibe, like it's not really attached to the wall. You know how the bathtubs in Nigeria is like attached to the wall. So let's even say you sleep inside the bathtub. This one is that it might even move with you or something. Like, guys, the way I shouted Jesus Christ like that day, it's so deep. Like, I don't know how to explain. I nearly sleep. Like, I was just like, God, God, God. Like, then that was when I knew, no, this bathtub was very different. Now, the houses I stayed before that house, the dormitories I stayed before the house didn't have a bathtub per se. It was a shower system. So that was my first time with the whole bathtub system in Japan. And when it happened like the second time, that was when I told myself that no, this is very, very different from the bathtubs in Nigeria. So I really need to be careful. So, guys, she's so correct. When you come to Japan, especially when you are in a traditional, beautiful architectural Japanese house, you need to be very, very careful about the bathtubs. Literally, if she explains it like it can kill and she gave statistics, then it really does kill. That's something to really keep in mind, please. So that's the second point. So let's get to the third and the last point, guys.
In this video, Japanese houses aren't insulated very well, and that can be a real problem, especially in the winter. Not only that, we don't have central heating like in the US, so if we use a heater to warm up one room, the rest of the house will still be freezing cold. Of course, we use heaters in Japan, but they might not be what you are used to. This is a very typical heater, but there's one deadly problem. It uses kerosene. Kerosene is a liquid gas similar to gasoline. Of course, it's much safer than the stuff you put in your car, but it's still a dangerous chemical. First, you have to pour the fuel into the heater's fuel tank, so you'll probably get some on your hands or skin. If you don't wash it off well, it can cause rashes and blistering. Second, when the heater is on, it's filling your house with exhaust and carbon monoxide.
Guys, the third point is the heating system, like the kerosene heater. Japan doesn't have a central system, a central heating system that works very perfectly, especially at home. What I mean by central heating system is when you go to America, the whole house can be getting warm from a heater or an electric heater or an aircon or something where you switch from cold to hot during the winter period, and from in the summer you switch from hot to cold, and you can control it, increase the temperature. But here in Japan, right, I don't know how they did their air conditioner system, or how did they say the AC system, that it's so trapped in a location. So let's say as I'm making this video now, my AC is on, but maybe a bit of downstairs will feel it, but my room is going to be hot. Do you get me? Like, it's so that way. So take it to winter. In winter is worse because the whole house is cold, it's chilly, like you need the heat. And it's so annoying because let's say you're in your filming studio where you have we have an AC that you can switch the mood to hot and cold, and it's warm and all, you finish filming a video like I am doing now, and then you want to go to your room and then it's so cold, like it's like you just went from snow to snow. Like, I don't know how to explain that. It's just so cold, like the heating system does not circulate around the house. So what most homes do is that you have this kerosene heater that heats very well and it keeps you warm. But the problem is, like the name implies, it is called kerosene heater because you put kerosene in it. And kerosene might not be as dangerous as gasoline, but it can still be volatile, it can still be dangerous, it can still be explosive. And so if you're not careful with that, there is a leakage and then a fire comes near it, it's dangerous. Now, for over 3 years I was in Japan, I never ever used a kerosene heater because the dormitories always had like a heater, like the electronic one, the ACs, the one we call ACs in the room, and it was just a room I was living in most times. So it's not like I had kitchen separately. I shared kitchen and some other things, right? So I didn't have that to bother. But when I moved to off campus, right, that was the first time that I knew that no, there need to be this thing because it's not central, it's not circulating. And it's so funny that sometimes they will only put the aircon in one part of the house and they will not put it in another part. Example, they might put it in your parlor or your living room and they will not put it in your room, or they'll put it in your room and they'll not put it in your parlor. So you have to make shift for the other place that they did not put it, and most times it's kerosene heater. Now that I live with my husband, because especially during the winter, the heater, the electric heater that we have in our room, is not as, it doesn't heat up so well like the main one. So most times my husband will be okay, let's buy kerosene and see if we can augment. But the problem is that kerosene smell, like she said, it's releasing carbon monoxide, which is not healthy for your system. So you could feel like you're choking, your chest is tight, and it could kill. Carbon monoxide is no joke. Read up on carbon monoxide. You have to find a way to balance it. You have to find a way to balance it. Maybe alternate it. Maybe do your cross ventilation, like she explained in this video. Fam, just find a way, but be very, very careful about kerosene heater. When I knew that it wasn't really good or really healthy was, we will on the heater that time. We stopped using it at some point because you on the heater, let's say you on it down, take a shower, and then we want to enter the room. The kerosene choking smell, and me and my husband will just be like, is this what we will sleep inside? So what some people also try to do is they leave it on for a while, and then when they enter the room or the parlor or wherever it is, they switch it off. By that time the heat is a bit trapped in the room. But keep in mind so that the walls in Japan are very thin, so air is lost a lot. It's not concrete, right? So it's a bit dicey. It's really, really a bit dicey. But be careful with kerosene heaters as much as possible, especially because aside the fact that there is no central heating system in Japan, it's tentatively cheaper than using the other one, right? I don't remember the statistics she gave that it kills, but I know that carbon monoxide can cause really serious health issues. She gave a practical example of it affecting her brother-in-law, who is a foreigner, that started feeling like his chest was so tight, he was losing breath, and immediately they switched off their kerosene heater, which is Mrs. Eat in her house, switched it off and opened the window for cross ventilation. He started feeling better. So another thing is you have to know your health challenges or your health condition. Do you have asthma? Like, I don't know how it affects asthmatic patients, but I feel like something that releases smoke might affect asthmatic patients. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. So these are the 3 major points that Mrs. Eat talked about, and I really hope you found this video helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please kindly let me know if you recommend or if you enjoy me finding out something from another person's channel, mini reacting to it from a black girl's perspective, recommending some things to you, because I don't know it all. Trust me, that's why I follow people like this to learn and make my stay here as productive as possible. So tell me if you enjoy videos like this, and I will by all means gladly do videos like this. Thank you once again for watching, and see you next time on Chilotalks. In the meantime, stay well, stay healthy, stay alive in Japan, and explore. See you. Bye.